Hey, Magic Makers. So this video that you're about to watch here, this is just the introduction to it, was from our Magic Mind coaching session yesterday, and one of our members, Fran, was presenting her signature workshop outline, and we went through piece by piece the story, the philosophy or school of thought, the breakthrough experience, the call to adventure, and we broke it all down, offered amazing feedback, and I just thought this would be so helpful for you to see what it looks like to go through the creative process of developing your signature workshop, what to think about, what to do, how do you map it out, how do you create the visual map that you're going to have that you're going to be teaching and leading people through as they go up your metaphorical mountain. And so I wanted to just make this little intro so you understand the context of what you're about to watch. This is from the Magic Mind. If you want coaching, then join the Magic Mind. Otherwise, follow my Substack at makingmagic.substack.com. And yeah, stay awesome. Enjoy this. I hope it's inspiring for you and it gives you some fuel to get your stuff together. And if you have not joined yet, the Craft into Your Signature Workshop is happening this September. The price is going up on the first of the month. So if you want to save some money and you know you want to get off social media, you want to lean into relationships to build your business, and you want teaching to be your marketing fuel to grow your life's work and your business and your income, then Craft into Our Signature Workshop. This is seriously the simplest, most scalable, satisfying marketing solution I've figured out over the years. Tad Hargrave from Marketing for Hippies agrees that this is the go-to strategy for any coach, any teacher, any transformation facilitator. You get on other people's virtual stages. It's way more effective than podcast tours because you're getting people present with you. You collect all the email addresses, which you don't get on social media, which you don't get when you do podcast tours. And then you can help facilitate the first transformation or breakthrough with those audiences. And that's what we're going to be watching here is Fran's map of how she's going to facilitate transformations. You can check out Fran's work with the link in the show notes here as well. Go check out Fran, say hi, join her email list, and all the good things. Enjoy.
So, so this is the structure I have right now. And when we talked today as well, I just came back again to this point of people being before this first step of change. Begin again. Like either you really feel the need to change because it's just not working for you anymore where you're at,
Yeah.
or it really is a crisis in your life and you're like, shit, I don't know what to do anymore. Like, I really don't know.
Yeah. I'm really loving the title tagline. Begin again. For when life does the life you built doesn't feel like yours anymore. I think that's it's awesome.
Well, and the message here, which became clear to me last night, I did a bit of journaling last night. There is a part here that I want to make more clear is like you creating your own path, regardless of what your family says, regardless of what anybody else around you says. It really, for me right now, or for me in the last years, it was really about following what I feel is true for myself, regardless of approval or not.
Hmm.
So, it's begin again and really go in your own direction, regardless how old you are, regardless of those kind of things. So
Beautiful.
just to frame that.
So
Um,
this is kind
yeah,
of like right here, the topic. This is kind of your intro sermon piece to kind of help orient them to like, here's the purpose of the next 60 minutes.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Just to
Here are the
make
turning
clear,
points.
I've been there myself and I've been there many times in my life and relating to that kind of
Beautiful.
thing. Yeah.
Or you're craving something else, something deeper, more authentic, more meaningful. The problem is it feels scary to admit that you have reached a point where you don't know what's next anymore. And the old life doesn't feel authentic either. So you feel stuck in fears and doubts, self-judgment, because these moments can feel uncomfortable for us. Sometimes life brings us to such a point. A crisis happened, we are stopped in our tracks, and what now? A job loss, a divorce, a issue, conflict, stress. Those are moments when we are asked to go deeper. I reached many points like this in my life, changed many times. I know how it feels to go through and begin again, deeper level. So this workshop gives you a bit of a roadmap for those, not a bit of a roadmap, gives you maybe like
Yeah.
uh, a roadmap for those moments, what to do, what the different stages are, what makes it so hard. My wish is that you find some clarity today for your own journey and insights into what can help you find your next steps.
So, and then I put just a phrase of maybe what kind of image I could have. Like I said to you yesterday, maybe I can play with a sweet little female runner that, with my hair kind of thing. Maybe I find something like that
For sure.
and relate that to the image of, hey, this mountain is so big, I
Yeah.
have no idea where to go, kind
Yeah.
of thing. So yeah.
Beautiful.
Hmm.
Okay, so I won't go into the details
No, we don't have to,
of the
but it's just,
story, but
you know,
yeah,
um,
yeah.
tying it together.
Okay, so you're digging into maybe just like kind of Cole's notes around each section of the story because you might tell this story for say 5 minutes. So
Hmm.
what's the Cole's notes, low point, turning point, and high point?
Hmm. Should I tell you now?
Yeah,
Okay.
be more
So
interesting if you tell us.
yeah, okay. So the low point for me was this first step of even leaving Germany. Like that was really the first point of going against my family in a way, and saying, okay, you know what, I need to just go out into the world. That's what I did. No plan, just going. So really feeling uncomfortable, really still taking all my old baggage with me, as you do when you even move countries, you're taking it with you. And then the transformation point was really, sorry, the middle, what's the middle point again? Not the transformation.
That's the turning point. So like when
The turning point.
you change
Yeah.
points. Yeah.
So the turning point in a way for me happened with first steps. Like it wasn't a huge turning point. It was actually realizing if I go in my own direction and actually understand what that is, I can make changes every day and it will happen over time. So there was a turning point, of course, to understand that,
Yeah.
which is, I was feeling burned out, totally frustrated about life, thinking I'm in another country, I'm actually traveling, and I'm still feeling the same way. What's happening? So I had to understand that those themes in my life came from actually family stuff that I was still carrying, that I wasn't aware of, and what is actually my thing. And then I decided every day. So that's when I started running. That's when I started, meditating more, really making it priority and working on myself.
Great. I would say when you tell the story is like here are the three biggest changes that made the difference to me or
Yeah.
something like that so that you can just like these were
Yeah.
the things that like got me through this transformational period in my life and
Hmm.
built a whole new foundation or momentum or something like that.
Yeah.
Okay. Great.
Hmm. And then the high point, of course, was the 3 years ago where I was ready and open through all my practices before to really hear my inner voice and that call to go to Mexico to run the ultra. And from there, everything changed.
Beautiful.
I just went with it, kind of.
And
So,
I think like the ultra marathon, if you could dig into that a little bit as well, because it's like the way that you've done that, it's become a core piece of your identity. And even if they don't want to run an ultra, maybe they have an impossible dream
mm,
that will is going to pull them forward. And for you, like running the ultra for somebody who's like never done that before and being like a barefoot runner is like there's some unique pieces there that are special for your story that you could make relatable to other people, even if running a marathon is not what they want to do, but maybe there's a different dream that is their metaphorical marathon, and that's what you help them do.
mm-hmm, that's a good point. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Unique philosophy. Okay, so uh, is this okay, so this is kind of like your unique philosophy, kind of Cole's
I
note.
have like, yeah, so I'm playing with this. I have
Yeah,
two parts of this.
yeah,
So I have all these pieces that gave me a basis, a foundation in my life, right?
yeah.
And this is the list that you just had. Like
Great.
I think around 10 points that give you a foundation that changes who you are in the core, with,
Beautiful. And
from my
if
experience.
and if
And
it comes to like showing these on your slides, when you make your
yeah,
slides, like have the
very
first one
clear.
here in bold, and then this stuff would just be things that you say,
Yeah,
but you don't put those on the slide. So like
yeah.
you kind of like have your uh you'd have these bolded pieces would be the thing that you go from one slide to the next, and those would be your main points or philosophy.
I actually want to make it even simpler in a way that I get a symbol for each of them because I think that would actually work. Like just one really, know, drawn out symbol.
Beautiful.
Um, and I think that could even be something that I can make visual later, like later on putting that together, just
Check
as
this out.
reminder points, right?
Been playing with for ChatGPT coming up with like icons and stuff like that. So just want to show you real quick. So create a symbol for each of these 10 points that is a Japanese calligraph. I don't know if I'm getting that spelling right. Um, can act as an icon for the website and slide presentation for each of these 10 points, please.
I like that you add please as well. I do that every time too. Trying to be polite.
Make friends with robots. Okay, so and then you can get this file exported as a PNG file, and you can import it into your website or into your
That's
slide
cool.
deck, etc. It might suck. You might have to go through each, you probably will have to go through each of the uh, points one at a time to get it to like,
Mm-hmm.
hey, make this symbol, and then you can give it like, okay, now make it a little more like this or a little more in this style. And if you can upload examples of like we want the icon to be in this particular style, that's gonna help it a lot. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
'Cause yeah, it's pretty cool. We had a whole bunch of fun. Oh no, this absolutely terrible. It completely it completely hold on. I did not mean it to write it in Japanese. I meant to make it the symbols. Okay. Forget that. I didn't mean to write it in Japanese. Simply make a cool icon design for each of the 10 points. There we go. Okay, we'll scrap the Japanese thing because it clearly got confused.
I don't have a
Anyways,
Japanese audience.
while we're waiting on the results, we'll come back to this. So
Yeah.
let's continue on.
So
So
anyway, yeah, this is like a foundation piece. And I think, to be honest with you, when I came up with that, that's maybe even a basis of a group and membership or something around those points that help you have a different foundation for your life to
beautiful,
actually stay more grounded. And then after that, I have my 5 steps roadmap
beautiful,
for change, for as you go through all these different steps, moving in your own direction.
perfect. So this will become an image, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Awesome.
exactly.
Um, Okay, do you want to just kind of briefly skim over and tell us about these?
Yeah, so basically, first step for me probably is one of the most important ones to point out what that means. For me, that first step starts when you realize you want change. So
Yeah,
it's not actually taking a step. First of all, it's getting to that
yeah,
point. Realizing that you're you staying in the familiar, in the so-called comfort zone that isn't actually that comfortable, but it's what you know.
yeah,
And then suddenly something happens, or you realize this is not me, it doesn't feel like me anymore. That requires you to admit that, to say I'm honest with myself. So that's the first thing. The in between is that step where a lot of people go towards it and then come back again
yeah,
because they feel like this is too wobbly. I don't know what that is. So this is where it really matters to stay grounded and actually practice the new foundation that I did before, um, to actually stay there, to be able to stay and hold that. And again, also obviously saying that I support you through that. That's my main piece of work. And then the first landing is where you land at a certain point because you've already been through that, been through fears. You actually stepped out into the unknown and it becomes more familiar. Okay, There's a new thing here. And maybe I can make that even clear with me running, like me trying out the half marathon. And it was uncomfortable. And then I landed there. And then I could go further to do a marathon after that. So it's like, it's different pieces in
Yeah.
between. So the landing is a first landing where you realize there is something new. And I'm actually already I've changed stuff. And then you realize, okay, I've reached this point. There's actually more. I can go further. And so this is where you're going further, and then you reach a point where it's like a new ground. You actually have gotten to know yourself a lot more. You've been through a lot of bigger fears.
Yeah.
That doesn't scare you that much anymore. And you can actually open even more to something new. And that's where I went for the ultra in a way. That
Yeah.
was then, okay, I've done a marathon. There's so much more possible. Let's go.
Find out what you're made of kind of thing.
Yeah, yeah. But you have to reach certain points to be able to stay calm and grounded in this new, unknown territory, kind of. And then you realize how much more there is. Does it make sense?
Yeah. Yeah. It feels great. Okay,
Good.
so as you can see,
Oh, there we
here's
go.
some basic images. Obviously, you would go through each of these one at a time. Like, okay, I want the image to be like this or like that. Give us some descriptions, and then I'll give you a thing and be like, no, I want it more like this. Again, if you can like get some screenshots of a specific stylization you're looking for, you can customize these things pretty cool.
Yeah.
Okay. Here is the roadmap for the specific school of thought. Going with a metaphor of climbing a mountain or walking the path. Create some form of visual that can represent each milestone in the roadmap. Again, if you have time, you sit with this and you just keep massaging and working it. At the
Hmm.
very least, you should be able to get like a solid first draft that you either give to a designer or you recreate yourself on Canva where you've got a little bit more creative freedom and input to add to it, but that can be super helpful.
Hmm.
Let's see. Okay, so now you're going to guide the breakthrough experience. So, up until here, this is probably this is a pretty damn jam-packed 20 minutes, we'll say. Uh,
Yeah. So I'm
of-
gonna have to distill this a little bit more.
and
Absolutely.
and as Tad discovered when he did his first ethical marketing signature workshop, is like it was 90 minutes. And then he had to like keep whittling it down to get it to eventually when he did his like first real run, he did 5 practice runs, then his first real run was 65 minutes. And so
That's pretty
it's
good.
okay if you go over in your test run because you're gonna read the audience and you're gonna feel inside yourself when you're rambling. And then the
Mhm.
rambly parts you just cut out and you condense and you refine and you just keep improving as you go. So now
Yeah.
you're gonna guide the breakthrough experience. So this is where the timekeeping is really important of like don't over explain, get them into the embodiment experience, etc. So why don't you run us through this real quick?
Yeah, so that's exactly what I've been trying to feel into this what would be a good exercise and giving them enough time to really dive into it. So the first one I need to kind of tweak a little bit more in terms of the input I'm going to give them,
Yeah.
but it is something that I want them to stretch into this fear that they're feeling. What is it that feels uncomfortable? So you have something that you really know you're going to change or you want to change. Um, and what is it that keeps you from it right now? So, I'm still kind of feeling into what could be the thing that brings it out in them.
Beautiful.
What could make it even felt like really having that experience in that moment
Yeah.
so that we can really see the fears or the loyalty that's still there to something, or what is it?
Yeah.
Oh, you
So
know
something that always helps before, if you want to like give people an embodiment experience and get into the feeling body rather than the thinking body, is like just even 10 breaths makes a massive difference. And kind of going into more of your meditation voice of like, okay, we're going to guide you through, three different self-reflection processes. And before we do that, let's shift from our brain to our body. And we're going to do a short embodiment practice and then guide them through each of the questions, get them to sit with it, write down any insights, etc. Like that'll help.
Hmm. Yeah, that's a good point. To really
Inten-
have them present with it.
And be one directional with the questions you ask. So, what
Hmm.
do you know you need to change and what is in the way? They might not know what is in the way. So,
Yeah.
just like staying focused on the what do you know you need to change? What's not, and then ask more questions to help trigger answers around that. Is like, what's not working in your life? What feels terrible? Like, get them to dig into that one question. Um, because what is in the way is a completely different question that's going to switch a different
Yeah,
part of the brain.
you're right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I would encourage you to share discussions until after all the exercises are done.
Uh-huh. Okay.
Because you're working with a group of strangers you've never worked with before, and you might get a chatty Cathy on there that just wants to hog the whole spotlight. And you want to like save that till the end. You want to keep it really focused and don't pull people out of their process.
Hmm.
Uh,
Yeah, that makes sense.
okay, so the the first outcome. So like each exercise has a specific intention of like the intention of this is for them to simply name what's not working, what needs to change. And they might have a list. And so if they have a list, it's kind of like, okay, focus on like the one or two that feel the hottest for you right now. Let's look at that.
Okay, and just going through this with you right now, I'm thinking I have to switch the two exercises. So this second one is about visualizing at the end of your life how you want your life to be. That could be part of the guided meditation in the first exercise to
Beautiful.
say, so you actually get clear on what you want to change,
Yeah,
right? So I can make those two things into one exercise, saying like what needs to change. And just to give you an impulse here, think of the end of your life. Looking back, what is it that you actually want? What do you want to look back up on? Right. So that helps them to actually see the areas that they want to change right now. And then the second part of the exercise to say, okay, so why isn't not happening right now? Like what's in the way?
beautiful.
That makes sense. I
Yeah.
think that's the thing.
And I
That's the
think let's just keep so like I like the end of life thing, but if we're weaving a metaphor throughout your entire brand, whether it's like the top of the mountain or the finish line of the path,
Mhm.
it's like we're gonna do a short meditation. We're gonna pull to the front of like what is at your finish line? Imagine you're at the finish line, the end of your life. This is the final days. What are the things? So like just bringing in more of that language that you keep coming back to the same metaphors and language throughout each and every exercise. Because what you want to do when you get into this next section is like, okay, what needs to change, etc. There should be a third question that is like, what is your first step? What is the first thing you can start changing
Mm.
today? Because that's what you want them to do is at the end of the workshop, they've taken the first step on this new path. And then if they want to continue, that's how they work with you.
And actually, I had that third step somewhere in there, but it wasn't clear. So you're
Okay.
absolutely right. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah,
to me this feels like it feels solid and you won't know until you facilitated it, you
yeah,
tried it on, um, and then you can just keep refining it. What I've always found like when creating workshops is like if as you're coaching people, the processes you keep coming back to that seem to work, those become the things that you want to lean into for these types of workshops because then you're not guessing. You just know it's like I've worked with 20 clients in the last year with this specific workshop and every time they have breakthroughs. So it's like lean
yeah,
into those things that you know work because there's a better chance they'll work in a group setting.
absolutely. And I'm just thinking I can make my one call offers
Yeah.
also more tailored to this actually,
Yeah.
to say this is the process we're going to go through together
And
one
if
on
you're
one.
if you're guiding a meditation, this is like neuro-linguistic programming is like you're creating a helping people to drop in and so you want to script this meditation so that every time you facilitate the meditation, you can keep improving that guided process by tweaking the language, shortening, eliminating sections, adding sections, etc., so that this becomes like a power script for you that you eventually turn into an audio for people to like, hey, here's the meditation practice if you want to keep it as in the follow-up series. So make sure you
Mm.
you script that so that you stay on time, that your whole signature workshop becomes this timed experience.
Hmm.
This looks great. So then you're called Adventure.
Yeah, and then I'm thinking of, I think there should be maybe a 4 weeks group program or something like that out of that, and a one-on-one, like on my the one-on-one options.
Beautiful.
So
I think that's great. It's like here's my um you know here's two options, two ways to work with me. If you're a couple or individual, here's my pages for those, and I have a group program coming up, or I have this audio library that is available to help you do it yourself and work through your own stuff. It's like having me in your inner ear coaching you as you transform, something like that.
yeah, yeah.
And the beautiful thing about like having a flagship coaching program that you run 3 or 4 times a year is every time you're running your signature workshop is like, hey, the next group starts this date. If that doesn't work from you, then 3 months after that, 4 months after that is going to be our next date. You can sign up. There's spots available.